Vicky Vargas, NBCLA, questions for the governor. You brought up the fact that you announced these encampment resolution grants. I think they just came out officially yesterday. $48 million, 8 communities. Twofold question. It's for some 1,300 people, which works out to about $35,000 per individual. What is that used for, A? And B, why is Orange County on that list?
So we put up $50 million 2 years ago. It was a pilot project to specifically target encampments. The state had never had any funds directly available to address the issue of encampments. It was so overwhelmingly successful and oversubscribed that working with legislative leaders, these 3 remarkable leaders here today, we requested an additional $700 million, which was just appropriated. So this is the second round, 48 million, of those that were oversubscribed but were on the list and prioritized from the previous round. The next round, we're cleaning up the old list. The next round, the applications are just coming in, is $650 million over the next few years in terms of those resources. And we're looking forward to those applications from Orange County, from cities and counties, COCs, which are these regional agencies, all across the state. The money is not just for the individuals, but the encampment resolution component, the resolution, is not a whack-a-mole strategy. The idea is, all right, we're just going to clean up the encampment, but you've cleaned up none of the problem because you've got folks now that have just been displaced and we haven't addressed any of the underlying issues. And so the resolution is actually resolving the underlying issues. So in the application, you have to identify not only the encampment, all the costs of cleaning them up, and then rebuilding sites, which are all component parts, but then also what the individual is going to look for in terms of the services that you're providing with accountability metrics at the back end. And that's why this is a very novel strategy and one that we think holds a lot of promise. This, again, is just the next round of many, many rounds, $750 million over the last 2 years appropriated for this program.
And so is the goal that many of those will look like this? Is that what your hope is?
Well, I mean, look, no, this is one component of that $15.3 billion. This is $750 million of the 15.3. And this is specifically to address the encampments. None of us can take the encampments anymore. There was an encampment, it's 4 football fields long up in Oakland that we just cleaned up. $4.7 million the state put up. 4 football fields long. I've personally been involved in over 1,000, by the way, PolitiFact this. I personally initiated and have been involved. We had an original goal of getting 100 encampments cleaned up. We smashed that goal by over 900. We reached 1,000. We were in Fresno when we announced that we hit that number. We mean business as it relates to cleaning things up, but doing it again in a thoughtful way and doing something meaningful on the back end, so we're not just misleading people that we're solving a problem as opposed to just moving a problem.
Hi, Governor. This is Rena Nakano with CBS 2 KCAL. My question is, of course, there are people like Teresa who are seeking the help, but there are many who want to remain off the grid. How do you help people like that, especially with a place like this?
Well, I think there's a lot of mythology. I've been at this for years and years. When I say I'm involved in encampment cleanups, I mean I'm actively, individually involved. I've done more homeless outreach than many homeless outreach teams over the last 25 years. No exaggeration. It's been a point of pride and passion for me, this issue. It's been one of the most vexing and frustrating things I've ever been associated with, because everybody's expression is unique. Everybody's history and challenges are unique. But one thing I've come to completely push back against is the notion of service resistance. I think that's a lazy mindset. I've seen people that have been out there for years and years and years, and then we start to continue to try to work and not give up, and we finally meet that individual where they are at that moment in that day. That's why I love these vans. That's why I love this data platform you have. You were just telling me that you have folks doing outreach, and all of a sudden someone miraculous, after 5 years, you've seen that person every night. They're finally ready. And then you go, where are we going to go? And then, well, hold on, I have to make some calls. And you're literally dialing up, hoping someone on the other end answers the phone. Now we have a platform. You have a platform down here in Orange County, in 11 cities, that allow real-time access and that immediate care. That could be the game changer. Or you find out someone, they've got a dog, and that shelter doesn't provide dogs. Or they have a spouse, and they don't provide couples. Or they're still self-medicating, and you got to be clean and sober. Got to meet people where they are. And that's the approach we're taking in terms of the flexibility of the funding and the approach that I think will prove determinative in terms of addressing this mythology around service resistance. Sure, there's always an exception. But I think there's a lazy punditry that says, well, all these people like Teresa love living in their cars, and asking the Chevron attendant if it's okay to spend the night. I think we have to be careful about that, is my point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Governor. Jessica De Nova with ABC7. It's good to see you here in Orange County again. Yesterday, I started work on a story on homelessness, and it kind of talks about the concentration of homeless shelters and aid for the homeless communities throughout the county. And I ran into a lot of North County and Central County leaders are taking a lot of that responsibility. The cities are taking a lot of that responsibility. And I think in June, an OC grand jury put out a report specifically saying that there needs to be an emergency shelter opened in South County. How can the state help disperse that responsibility that really we all need to take on across the nation?
I'm going to answer that very specifically, but let me acknowledge the leadership in North County. It's pretty self-evident. Represented by Chair of the Board of Supervisors, who's been a champion, by the mayor, and of course our elected officials, being willing to take responsibility. And we're grateful for that. The answer to your question is a stubborn one. We've been handing out money to cities and counties and these regional bodies, CACs, without asking for much in return. That just changed. I have 75 accountability plans. First time we've ever required cities and counties and COCs to provide detailed plans to share the responsibility and opportunity to help people off the streets. And we are reviewing those 75 plans. They're required in order to get discretionary money. Those plans have 6 specific measurements. They're 3-year plans, and the plans have to connect at a local and regional basis. And it connects the responsibility more broadly that needs to be shared amongst all of us, north, south, east, west, county by county, city by city. I will be talking a lot more about those plans next week and being more explicit and specific. Those plans will be made public, and those plans will provide the opportunity for the taxpayers to judge for themselves who's stepping up and who needs to do more to meet their responsibilities at the local level. So these local accountability plans are a pathway to solving for those disparities which persist.
Thank you. And I was told at the beginning to say that I was the last person for the question, so I apologize. I forgot to say that at the beginning. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and thank you for that question and that opportunity to share. And now I'll just I'll close on this, and that is to just once again celebrate the leaders that are here today and express my gratitude. Final words. I travel all up and down the state. People run from this issue. And then people politicize this issue, and they point fingers. And they run from this issue because success is often not a place or a definition. You know, it's hard to prove it. If you house 10,000 people and 11,000 people are still on the streets, people say you're a failure, even though you've housed 10,000 people, because of the dynamic nature of this issue. And politicians run from it. And that's why we have the problems we have. These leaders are taking responsibility, and they should be recognized. Democrats and Republicans, the chief, this is what it's about. And so Orange County, it doesn't surprise me, and this is why this is my final word, that you've seen a 23% reduction in your point of time count in this county. It is one of the best performing counties in the state of California, and it's because of the leaders here today. Job well done. Let's keep up the good work. A lot more to be done. Thank you guys very, very much.